Greetings. This is Toyin Umesiri, author of Mindset of an Entrepreneur and host of the Quantum Leap TV show. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I want to do a little bit of teaching. Typically, I have guests here, but I'm going to go more into teaching, and it's about sales skills. And so, what I'm going to teach you today is about sales and energetics. Because what you're going to find is that most people have been trained to be more technical. So you build things, you know how to build products, you know how to build services, product development. Many people, particularly even the school system, grooms us all to be more technical. However, when it comes to sales, when it comes to engaging with humans, you have to develop and unlock, right, deeper skills, energetic skills, emotional intelligence skills, because you can use technical skills to build things. Okay, you can use technical skills to understand things and build solutions, but when it comes to selling, the skills for selling are what we call softer skills, but they are the most powerful wealth creation skills. So I'm going to really share some very deep insights with you today, because technical skills are the skills you're going to use to build solutions, build services, and all of that. So you do need those skills. But when it comes to building your bottom line and inviting more people, acquiring, right, clients, prospects, when it comes to human, the skills that will be a game changer is really more emotional intelligence, energetics, and I'll go deeper into that today. So, the first thing I want you to do is really understand this concept of soul alignment, right? Because there's a side of humans that is more energetic, it's more of who you are, because that's the side of you that allows you to connect with other humans. Many people want to connect based on their products and services, but the reality is humans connect emotionally first and then we communicate intellectually. Before people would even take time out to listen to you, they must actually find something interesting to pay attention to, right? They actually have to connect. Connection allows us to hold attention, okay? If there's no connection, you cannot hold attention. And if you don't hold attention and people are not focusing on what it is you want to share or say or present, you've lost them before you even have a chance to talk about your product or services. So if you want people to pay attention, if you want people to focus on the message you are presenting, focus enough to even understand, comprehend the information you're trying to present to them, the very first layer is building connection. So how do you build connection? There's something about resonance. The message that you are presenting must connect with the journey your prospects are already on. Now, there is a disconnect in the world today where entrepreneurs and business owners are so fascinated with their products and services and they are living in their own world, in their own bubble, and they only care about their own thoughts, their own feelings, their own emotions. I always tell my students, break out of that. Yes, you need to understand you need to build, you need to solve for your own needs and all of that. But when it is time to sell, you need to move and shift yourself from your own feelings and emotions, and you need to now seek to understand, right, the journey your prospects are on. One of the ways I also explain this, I say cash flow, the concept of cash flow. Think about the system, human system, blood flow. It's the heart. Where does cash come from? Your clients, your prospects, your customers. Okay? So don't make yourself the heart of your business. Make your prospects, your customers, your clients the heart of your business, because when it comes to flow, cash flows from them into your business. That's how important understanding the needs of your customers, of your clients, learning how to engage with prospects within your business is key. It's the only way to actually grow your bottom line. the sensitivity to seek to understand the needs of the people that you are here to serve, because they will serve you if you serve their needs. So this concept of soul alignment is understanding that their own journey, right, versus your own journey has to align as well. Is that their needs, their desires, their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations, who they want to be, what they want to have the ability to be able to create is the key, right? Because when you understand that, your ability to connect has to connect with their own journey, not your own journey. Because that's where I say people could care less in terms of in the world of business, what you are going through. I always say get a coach to deal with your stuff, because when you come into the marketplace, people care when you care about their own needs. So your ability to connect comes from deeply understanding the needs of your customers, having key insights, so market research to understand the journey they're on, who they want to be, what they're trying to achieve. Because when you speak and you communicate out of their own needs, there's resonance, right? It means you will get their attention because you are speaking their mind, right? When you're speaking their mind, when you're giving words to what they are navigating, to their hopes, to their dreams, to their aspiration, guess what? They will pay attention. Not because of you, but because of the journey they're on and the things you're saying is pertinent to the world they live in. So gaining connection, right? Deepening connection, gaining connection has to do with resonance. The words you're saying, the message you're sharing, the things you're talking about already lives in the hearts and the minds of the people you hope to serve. When that is true, when you speak things that are on people's mind, when you say things that they care about, you will gain attention, because you're literally having a conversation that they're already having in their minds. You're literally you're inviting them, okay, to have a conversation they're already having, to think about the things they're already thinking about, right? To explore their own inner universe, and you are able to guide them, right, to what they already want safely. So connection comes out of that, out of resonance. Does your message resonate? Can people connect? And I've explained that that level of connection means you're saying things, okay, you're presenting a message that other people already care about, or other people already hold that message, or they have questions in their heart that you have answers to. So that's part of the source of connectivity. You connect with people when you think about the things they care about, and you have a solution to the questions they have in their mind. Out of connection, your journey is now to build trust. These are all energetics, okay? How do you build trust? How do you deepen trust? Is that when what you're saying, okay, becomes true, your ability to share information that other people believe is accurate, right? It resounds as true. Your ability to predict, your ability to guide, your ability to solve, and the solution works. Your ability to show that your solution works, that what you're saying holds truth, that what it is you're presenting is believable, understandable, and believable. That builds trust. So there's connection. People pay attention when you connect. And then as you deliver your message, as you present your message, the next step is this message true? Can I believe this? Who else has believed this? Who else has this worked for? Because your prospects would be wondering, because we are living in a low trust environment. So people are learning not just to believe everything, but you want people to trust you. And trust really is the currency, is the energetic currency that money transactions ride on. When trust is not established, people can get curious, people can pay attention, people can listen, But when trust is not established, they walk away. So if you want people to engage, if you want people to stay, if you want people to go deeper, for you to lead them, then you need to establish trust. So your ability to, as quickly as possible, secure trustworthiness, ability for you to showcase maybe other customers that you've helped in the past, that you've served in the past, the results you've delivered in the past. These are elements that help people build trust faster. Other options that you have could be taste, taste and see, right? So do you have trials? Can you try this for 3 days or 14 days, right? Explore, go down this path and see if the solution is not going to resolve the challenges. And now if you want a permanent solution, you can check us out, right? So how do you help people deepen trust? Is what journey are you going to take your prospects on for them to understand the efficacy, the effectiveness, the transformation you can deliver? Because many people stop at telling people this works, right? Trust us. But just saying trust us does not actually build trust. What typically builds trust is the experience that you provide to people, or other people's experiences shared from their own perspective. So trust is built when people experience. It's like you present a meal. How do people know that it's tasty? Somebody's got to test it. Somebody's got to put it and say, this is tasty. Yeah, you can, and then they call others and say, try this as well. So your ability to create some form of experience, the experience of your truth, the experience of the effectiveness of your solution, some form of exploration that you're going to take people on, because trust is built and generated internally to your prospect. You cannot transfer trust. The way you transfer trust is through other people's experiences or their own personal experience. And then trust over time, right? Once you've established trust, then people don't think about trust. You move on to transactions, engagement, transactions, vulnerability, and I'll share more about that. So I'm just walking you through step by step. When it comes to sales, it's not the same as technical skills. It's human intelligence skills. It's emotional intelligence skills. It's energetics. It's deeply understanding what motivates us as humans, what drives us, and for you as an entrepreneur and business owner to really go deeper into that world, to really get firmly rooted in understanding human design, human intelligence. So I cover a lot of that in my school as well, because sales is about working with humans, serving humans, so you need to understand humans. And technical skills is about things, right? It's about logic. And many times people attempt to use logic to explain emotions and feelings. But I say feelings and emotions is more physics, quantum physics and chemistry, and they have biological implications. So when I unpack the science of emotions, human intelligence, I help my students understand is that one of the reasons many people fail in human relationship is they are attempting to explain relationship through logic. If this, then this. But quantum physics, reactivity, people's reactivity is more of physics, chemistry, biology, and it's energetics. How you invest in people, how we react to energetic vibrations, and how they unlock chemical reactivity within us, our endocrine system, our central nervous system, right? The electrical charge. There's a lot of science to it that I unpack in my school as well. So understanding that humans are not primarily logical, but we use logic to understand things, to explain things. However, if you want to better understand humans and serve humans, you have to more of listen, and you have to understand energetics because it creates chemical reactivity, hormones, emotions, right? Energy in motion They are the physiological experience of the chemical composition, right? What's happening, the chemistry happening within us, the hormones being released, all of the emotions and our expressions. It has biological implications. Our cells receives all of the chemical compositions that makes us express it physiologically. So if people are happy, it's because we've activated chemistry within them, right? By fueling the right information, making people feel the right way, we can unlock the right chemistry as well. So I just put that out there. You're going to find this very useful in life, personal relationship, and also, most importantly, as I'm sharing today, you find it meaningful in business as well, because it's about serving people and helping people feel better, helping people navigate life in a more holistic way as well. So I talked about soul alignment, building connection, gaining trust, right? It's about creating internal experiences that makes people ready to believe, ready to hold true, ready to act upon the message you are delivering. Okay? Now, once there's trust, it now opens you to having conversations that are meaningful, right? Because what happens is that many entrepreneurs and business owners are trying to engage prospects in a conversation, right? But if you're speaking and nobody's listening, if you're speaking and nobody's paying attention, if you're speaking and people don't trust you, what type of conversation can you have? You're literally talking to yourself. So that's why you want to build connection, you want to build trust, because once you establish that, people slow down enough to listen to what you have to say. People gain interest to learn more about what it is you are presenting before them. And when they slow down, the conversation can be more meaningful. Now you can ask questions. Now they can pay attention. Now you can make inquiry. Now you can engage in a conversation that ultimately you want to lead to a transaction. But transactions do not just happen without that conversation. So conversation, once trust is established, you also want to have conversations that are two-way. Many people go one way. I know you, I'm going to prescribe. This is what I think you need. But on the other side, are you listening enough to see if they understand what it is you're saying, if they agree with you, if they also are thinking about what it is you're presenting? So one of the things I say is, you cannot think for a prospect. Your job is to give your prospect something to think about, something creative to think about, something innovative to think about, something useful for them to explore, for them to give them time to take it into their own inner universe. Most people want to shove it, right? You have to listen to me. And that is a repelling force, right? You repel people. But what you want to do is present your best message. However, listen and wait for a response, right? That will give you more information about if people are really understanding, because you want to create understanding, right? Many people just put information out there and they make assumption that people understand what it is you're trying to say. Maybe, maybe not. But if you want to be sure that your message came across, that they listened, they understood, and they're walking away with insights, right? Illumination, that you enlighten them, you want to ask them, do you understand? What do you think? Right? So questions help you also to understand what's going on in the world and the universe of your prospects. Without that, you're making assumption. And you need to move away from assumptions, because assumptions do not sell. Facts do, through the lens of the buyer. Because if your prospect is going to be the one to buy, they're the ones to make a decision, they are the ones to evaluate, they are the ones to understand. They have to do work. They have to actually go on an internal journey to understand what it is you're saying, to agree with you, to decide to make a decision, to comprehend, to understand enough, to agree. and then to decide that they are going to buy, that this is what are investing in, that this is something they need. Because if they do not agree with you, they are not buying, they walk away. So securing agreements from your prospect, that your prospect believes that they have a need, okay? So that's something to watch out for, because people use money to buy the things they need, the things they want, the things they desire. And when there's no need, they walk away. So your prospect has to agree, right, that there's a need, that they need you. They have to understand that their current approach is not optimal, because if they believe what they're doing is better than what you're offering, they walk away, right? So you have to also bring your prospect to a place where they understand that there's a better, more optimized, more effective, more efficient approach to achieving what it is they want to achieve than they currently have access to. Because when they don't believe that, why should they listen if their own solution is more superior to yours? So part of listening and the conversation you want to have is the needs at hand, the gaps that they have, and you being able to present how you can help them close that gap, close it better, faster, cheaper, safer. I always include safer right now, because many people are going down the path and they are using their health, their way, they believe that they can spend the next 6 months finding a solution, wasting their time, wasting their energy, spending their life literally, when someone could solve it for them in a week or days or hours. So you also can have those conversations to help them understand the pros and cons of, if you do it your way, this is the advantage, this is the con. If you do it my way, this is the advantage. And in order for you to have an advantage in that area, this is the cost, right? So the whole point of transaction comes in when people have alignment and agreement that there is a need, and the best approach to meeting that need is being presented and offered to them. And they are willing and able to pay the cost of that efficiency, right? That has to happen, because many people can see a solution, but the cost of efficiency, the cost of breakthrough, the cost of achieving goals, when excellence comes with a price, when solutions come with a price, people have to be ready and willing to invest in that as well. So those are conversations you want to present to your prospects. In order to do this as well, you have to do a lot of inner work. That's why I support my students with a ton of inner work, because part of this conversation will make you expose your intentions, right? And if your intentions are not quote unquote pure, these are the things that break down trust. So how you present your intention in a trustworthy way will help you build trust faster. And when you build trust faster, what it also invites your prospect is for them to be vulnerable with their needs. You see, when you don't build trust, right? Because prospects want to know that you do them no harm and you mean them all the good. That's what it is. And they're seeking and searching for your intentions, right? So when your intention is pure means that you do them no wrong, you do them 100% of good, and their life would be better, right? They're going to be happier, they're going to be more fulfilled, they're going to find all the good in engaging with you. Trust lives there. And when people find such a person or such a company, we let down our guards, and vulnerability is the next thing, because now we can talk about challenges, talk about needs, talk about aspirations, because these are guarded inner, right, experiences that people do not expose unless they trust people, right? So your ability to build trust means that you can draw people in, and when you draw people in, they are more open to sharing freely with you what's really going on behind the scene, because most people present the best version of themselves and they don't want to expose their needs, their pain points. So why do people go to doctor, right? Is that you have to create that safe environment enough for people to share with you. Most entrepreneurs, they ask for vulnerability upfront without building trust, and that's why people don't share with you their needs, their pain points, unless they trust you. So that's why building trust ought to be the number one goal as well. Now, once people get that, space where they can share their needs, they can be honest, they can be truthful, they can expose what's really going on internally to them, you now have this unique opportunity to make recommendations. After hearing what the pain points are, you can listen, you can now make recommendations. Making recommendation is a very unique opportunity that you don't want to miss. You don't want to just take for granted. Your ability for them to listen to your recommendation is built on trust. Okay, that again, you mean them all the good. And so once you're able to give recommendations, you can do this to solve your needs. This is what I think as the expert. You're giving them room to also do that inner work of enlightenment, right? Realizing that they don't have to stay with their problem. There's a bunch of solutions. And then out of your ability to present, right, options, you can also then say, you know what, but I recommend this. Your ability to get to that point of recommendation is where you're getting closer to a transaction, because you are now saying, based on what I've heard you say, based on the needs you've presented, I really believe this will work for you, and this is why. So you also have to back it. Now you can back it with more logical approach, because once you've solved the emotional needs, you can now present the logical supporting information of why this is your best recommendation. Okay? And so you want to help people go through all of that, right? You cannot do the work for them, right? No matter how you think. I always say passion sells, but desire buys. And part of desire is you helping them also see that they need to make a decision for their own journey. And those decisions, you can support it with recommendations and facts and figures and all of that. But ultimately, it is for them to arrive at a conclusion that they are about to make the best decisions for their own reality. So you are guiding them to that point of decision making, because people will live with their decisions. If you don't want buyer's remorse, it's like after people spend and make that decision and invest financially, it means they are ready to make a decision that they are ready to live with, right? So your ability to help them to do that really is the key. So when it comes to sales, as I begin to wrap up today's session, when it comes to sales, in order for you to actually do this work, you actually also have to go deeper into understanding humans. You have to understand yourself. So when I train my students, I always say that the more you understand yourself, self-discovery, self-mastery, human intelligence, the more you understand the power of emotions, it becomes easier to also help other people navigate their own world as well. And so you can see that the world of sales is built on relationships, on energetics, on human connectivity. And this is about journey, the journey you're on, the journey they are on, and your ability to communicate, get their attention, connect with them, right? Build trust, right? And allow them to trust you enough to share their own needs with you. And then you offer recommendations, solutions, and then guide them into making the best decisions for their life, the decisions they can live with, they'll be happy with, and they'll be fulfilled with as well. So I want to thank you for listening today to this episode of Quantum Leap. I'm your host, Toyin Umesiri, author of Mindset of an Entrepreneur, and also founder of the Quantum Leap Academy. We do have an academy that I've been referring to as well. You can learn more on my website, and I hope to see you again next week. Thank you so much. Bye for now.